Wanted to say before we start asking you questions?
No, this is great. Thank you for the amazing introduction. And I'm so glad we're having this part two because part one, we basically spoke about everything, how you need to make your grants more effective. But now you'll actually see what a proposal looks like, like a great proposal looks like. So I'm glad we are doing part two.
Perfect, perfect. And this was not, we didn't actually come up with this idea. This was sort of the people that were in part one said we need a part two. So this is by popular demand. So the first question I wanted to ask you is how is AI transforming the traditional grant writing process? And what are the benefits for nonprofits?
I mean, it's tremendous. So as I've been, a grant writer myself, I worked with nonprofits. I co-founded United Way Mumbai. So I've literally started a nonprofit, and we primarily depended on grants as for fundraising. When you have limited staff capacity, grants are a great way to fundraise because an average grant size is about $10,000.
Hmm.
That's 10,000 and upwards, literally. And so it's a really effective way to fundraise. And I've been through so many days and weeks of just sitting and writing words on paper and editing it. And, the whole manual process of writing grants is pretty tedious. It's highly
Yeah, I agree.
stressful as well. And I remember just in 2022, I did a crowdfunding campaign. I participated in that. Like crowdfunding is basically where you put out your project and people read your proposal and they donate to you. So it's basically not a single donor, but multiple people come and donate to your project. And I remember in 2022, I was writing a book and I needed to fundraise. And so I put out a one pager. For crowdfunding campaigns. You need to be really short in your pitch. You can't be as detailed as writing a grant proposal. But even to get that one pager out, to have it on the website, I spent my entire weekend stressing over it and writing it. Just
Mm.
one page, and grant proposals can be like 10-page long. So you can
Yeah,
understand the stress, how it
yeah.
compounds with every page. So it's yeah, the process is very tedious and stressful. Writing grants, it can take, you have to stop literally everything that you're doing, all your good work, you have to forget about it for whatever days you're going to sit and write grants, and then get back to it. So everything has
Yeah.
to come to an end.
My whole issue is writing. I have a love-hate relationship with them. I kind of like them, but my problem is it's a black hole and it's a slippery slope. So I mean, you can be writing the grant, you can write the grant all year and just keep adding to it. So at some point you have to stop and sort of like, okay, this is good enough, and then sort of send it in. And then the second thing, it can take up a lot of time, the research, doing all the other stuff. So grants are very grants are very interesting things. So I'm super excited that you created this AI that's totally focused on grant writing because that's going to totally people will become more editors than they would than actual grant
Exactly,
writing.
exactly. And my inspiration for this came again in 2022. AI was very new, and I was writing a book. Actually, AI came out the very month when I published the book, and I wish AI was there before because I spent so many nights just trying to edit and re-edit my book. But I needed a nice book cover, and I didn't have access to a visual designer. So I used a AI platform called Midjourney, and I just described what I had in my mind, and Midjourney visualized it. And it was so good. And I was like, wow. Like, imagine if I had to sit and do this myself. I don't even know Photoshop. I can't even
Yeah.
draw a straight line. And being able to generate something so compelling and visually enticing, I would have never been able to do it. And that's when I started thinking, how can we apply this technology for nonprofits? And then looking at all the time that I've spent in this world, I realized grants fundraising is what unlocks a lot of things, right? Like once you have money, then you can grow your mission, you can continue all the great work that you're doing. At the same time, it's one of the most distracting part of your work because you have to stop everything. And a lot of people
Yeah.
don't enjoy that process, right? They haven't signed up to fundraise. They've
Right.
signed up to do the good work. So how can we make it easy? And that was my moment when I am like, we've got to apply this technology for grants fundraising. It should be as simple as describe a project and the AI just writes the whole proposal out. And that was the very moment when I was like, we got to build this out. And that was in 2022.
I agree. I agree. The other thing is, I follow you on the social media and I look at your posts or your articles and they're so detailed and I mean the art that you do with Midjourney and all this other stuff, they're so well written. And so I appreciate, your ability. You're not just an AI founder or a
No,
grant. I mean, you do so much in
I'm
terms of
passionate.
technology.
I'm passionate because I've always
Right.
worked at the intersection of technology and social impact. And I want people, change makers, to use the technology to accelerate because, they can get so much done faster. Like they have to
Hmm.
spend less time on admin stuff and more
Right.
time on the work that they really enjoy,
Right.
which is whatever you signed up for, your community, helping people. We didn't sign up to sit and draw pictures or write blog posts or
Right.
or tell, like all the things that we don't enjoy that we have to do.
Agreed. Agreed. Okay, so let's we were going to do a poll, but Alex is putting that together right now, so we'll do it after the first. So Deepa, why don't you go ahead and share what you want to share, and then we can go ahead and start. We'll select the one or two grants that we're going to run through, and then
Okay.
we can sort of head and go for it. But I think you had some slides you wanted to
Yeah,
share. Was that
I wanted
after
to
or
share.
first?
Yeah, I want to share those slides.
Okay.
Just trying to see if let me know if you see my slides. I'm gonna
List. Yes, we do.
and if I put it on slideshow, and
Yes.
if I go next, do you see my next slide?
Yeah.
Or
Grant Orb AI for grants.
okay, cool. So yeah, I just wanted, what you're going to see or witness very shortly. I think it'll come across magical after you understand what it takes to really write a grant. So it's, grant writing is a really tedious, intimidating process. Like so many small nonprofits don't even undertake that because it is so mind-boggling. Like people, big organizations, they have dedicated staff to do this, but a lot of small organizations, frontline organizations that are actually doing some amazing work don't undertake such grant writing work because it just takes a lot of time to do grants, and one grant will exhaust them and they don't want to attempt the next grant. So with grants, it is like if you write 10 grants, you'll probably win one or two grants, so the more you write, the more you win. It's like that.
It's a
And
numbers game.
it's a numbers game. And a lot of small ones suffer because it's such a time consuming process. And then just the the funders guidelines, when somebody's giving out, the foundation is giving out grants, the guidelines, they use such big words, jargons, literally. I mean, our whole field is filled up with jargons, and the expectations, and it gets very, just that document will be like 10-page PDF document, which you need to read and understand. And many organizations, as I said, lack specialized grant writing skills. So grant writing is not rocket science, but there's a way to communicate your project to donors. I was just sharing with Paul that I worked with this amazing change maker in Singapore. He's world renowned. He's done a lot of work for sanitation and access to toilets all around the world. And he's amazing at what he does. And I helped him for a year and I wrote grants for him. And we won tons of grants, including one from government of Singapore. But the year I left, since then, he's literally struggled to fundraise, and it's not his thing. He's told me he's taken classes and stuff too, but it's not his thing. He just enjoys the work that he does. And grant writing is a skill that you need to have, which he doesn't possess. So actually, when I built out Grant Orb, I happened to meet him and I showed him the application, and he was like, Deepa, I can literally get all my ideas funded now. So he was my inspiration behind this Grant Orb as well. And lack of, know-how on how to budget. So, budgeting is a big part of it because every grant proposal goes with the budget. And some people don't know how to do good budgeting, like what is it that they should even put in the line item expenses, and line item expenses is basically reflective of the project that you're doing. It should be tightly integrated with that, everything that you're budgeting should be part of what you've said in the narrative about what you want to do in the with the funds. But a lot of people would budget things that don't appear in the proposal for those things. Many young ones don't even know how to do line item expenses. So that itself is a very nightmarish part of writing grants. And then just the whole process is stressful. Like every time I've written grants, I have actually didn't want to see it for the next 3 months, because I don't want to even go back to it for the next 3 months because it's just taken so much of my time. And then obviously for small organizations, if you don't win 1 or 2 grants, after that, you don't even want to attempt it. You're just so disheartened with the process that you don't want to continue with it. And it takes a lot of toll, So with Grant Orb, you can now write grants in minutes, literally. It takes 3 minutes, and this time is even going to come down because as AI as a technology is getting you can it's getting more faster, So it right now takes about 3 minutes to write like 10-page long proposal. And in the future, it's going to get shorter. And it doesn't mean if it's taking less time, there's any compromise on the quality. The quality is high level, and it's simple. Like there are executive directors that I work with now, and all they have to do is just describe the project they have in mind. This is what we need money for. Just describe it, and they just put it in Grant Orb, and it generates the entire proposal. We also generate like line item expenses. So all the expenses that will go in incurring that project, the AI already knows. And so it generates like an entire list. So all you got to do is then put amounts next to it and, just budget it for X, whatever number of months or that you need to expense that item for. So we've also built a research agent because data makes proposals super compelling. So while the Grant Orb AI is writing, we also have a separate research agent that actually goes and finds the latest statistics around the problem that you're trying to solve. Or if you've suggested a solution, then is there any evidence-based practice around it? Like that has already shown that that kind of thing works in practice. And donors want to know these kind of things, especially when you say like, if you say like, people in the world don't have toilets, but the moment you put statistics next to it, like you say 2.6 billion people in the world do not have access to toilets, then it makes it super compelling, So these are the kind of things that people who write grants know, and they spend immense amount of time researching. And now that we made the process so simple, like even your volunteers can write the grant as long as they know what project that you are seeking funding for. They just need to be clear. So it empowers everybody in your team, not just that one person doesn't have to take all the burden. It can be shared. And then obviously you spend less time doing admin work, more time on impact. And as we said, grants is a numbers game. You write more to win more,
Agreed.
So I'll jump into if with Grant Orb, you can create like all the related grant documents. Like obviously one is the grant proposal, but I actually looked up the top 200 foundations in the United States. And what I figured was that a lot of them have a rolling application process. So, which means that you can contact them at any point of time during the year. And what they ask is that you submit a letter of intent or a letter of inquiry first, which a lot of them has a format, but a lot of them don't have a format, but which basically is introducing who who you are, like your organization, what have you all done, and what is it that you're seeking funding for. So it's an important step. And once they like what you've written, then they will invite you to submit a full grant application. So that was a pretty interesting finding, because a lot of them are open to accepting applications throughout the year. You don't have to adhere to any timelines. And then grant report, once you get the money, you need to then submit grant reports, which again takes a lot of time. Sometimes the donor requirements are that you need to submit quarterly, or you need to submit an annual, but sometimes they just ask, like, at least the time that I have worked, it was quarterly. So every quarter we need to sit and write grants about how we've spent that money. But sometimes it can be just once a year, just provide us a report. Or if you are coming back to us for a new grant, then tell us what you've done with the previous grant. So you need to submit a grant report. And again, the whole idea is that you can go from your unstructured thoughts, like, if unpolished thoughts, to like really polished reports in minutes. This Before I jump into creating grants, I also wanted to tell you about what leads to the success. So proposal is obviously one very important part of it, that you need to be able to communicate your project effectively. What is it that you're seeking funding for? And the donors want to know, like, imagine if you had to give $5,000 to somebody, you would want to know, okay, what is it that you're taking money for? How long what is the time frame for this project? How would you be implementing this? And all of that should be part of somebody who is giving money, should be fully convinced that this is how you're going to be using that money. So proposal is very, very important, but also alignment is the number one, I would say. Like the donors, they list out their eligibility criteria, and they all have focus areas, that we only fund health and environment and arts, for instance. So you need to fit into their focus areas. Your project needs to fit into those focus areas, because if it doesn't, then they will not fund you. Just like how as nonprofits we have focus areas, every foundation has focus areas. This is their giving mandate. This is what they fund, and nothing outside that. And then on top of that, they will also list down things like you need to be a registered charity, and you need to provide certain documents along with the proposal to a certain that you are a legible charity. And what I've seen is that there should also be mission alignment. So I know that donors have funding mandates, but if you're trying to fit into that mandate, but your mission is not that, like what you've described as an organization, your mission is, and your past programs and activities are, if that doesn't match, like with that, then you will not get the funding, no matter how great your proposal is. And I recently saw this happen with one of the nonprofits that was discussing their case with me. It was a big $1 million grant, which they wanted to fund like building like small businesses. And the organization is a small business itself, but they wanted to play an ecosystem player role. Like it's a big grant, and they wanted to help tons of small businesses. And so the organization tried to pitch as if they will help other small businesses, but this is not what they do. That's not their primary purpose. Their primary purpose is to basically, it's a social enterprise, and they work at a very local community level. But now that they want to play an ecosystem building role, it didn't really go well with that. So it has to really, alignment means it has to align with your whatever program you're proposing. It has to align with your mission, with your past projects you've done, with it has to be on track with that. So the second is idea. Sometimes your idea is not fitting. Again, it will not get funded. And I think Grant Orb will be helping with everything except competency. So that's something, that you need to prove it yourself, like who are the people, what do you have the competency or the ability to deliver this project? Do you have that kind of talent? Like you're proposing something that you will say, do something, but do you have the team members to be, and are they qualified enough, or is your organization qualified enough to be able to do that? So I think competency is very important.
I think
uh
though, Deepa, I think a big if I can just add, I
yeah.
think a lot of times I'm working with some of the churches. Often they're writing grants to um, to find funds for their current budget, and
Hmm.
so they're sort of writing grants to get. But what they're not understanding is when they write the grant, they're actually creating an additional budget to their budget. So if their budget is X, they see this grant for $500,000 and they're like, oh, we can go get $500,000. And that was not already in their budget. All they're doing is expanding their budget, and they're creating a program. So it's not actually going to take $500,000 off of their budget. And that happens probably more often than you think. A lot of smaller nonprofits try to do that. And I just want you all to be careful of that. If you're writing a grant for a particular program, just make sure the program fits in your budget, and that's what you're trying to do for this year, and not trying to write grants just to get funding to fill your budget. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, Deepa, but I run into that a lot.
Yeah, and is that like under, like a lot of non foundations will say we do capacity building grants,
Correct.
which is basically you can get money for yourself, for your
Correct.
organization
To grow it. Yeah.
to grow, or just continue to operate at whatever level
Right.
you're operating. And within capacity building, sometimes they'll have like you can use this funds, and they define those areas sometimes, like for
Correct.
board
And I just
development or
wanted to give you a
strategy.
quick time check. It's
Yeah.
9:25.
Oh, yeah, let's go next. So I just wanted to show you, like, if you have these list of documents ready all at all times in a folder, and if you have Grant Orb, then you can literally write 100 grants if you want, and be very efficient, because again, you don't have to pull out all these documents from different places in your organization every time. Like, so uh, sometimes when you are submitting budget, they will ask, like, if you for big amounts, they will say get a quote, like from somebody. But otherwise, letter of support, list of board of directors, trustees, current operating budget, like if you just have this ready in your folder, then you can be highly efficient, because then you just create a proposal, and then these are a certain list of documents that formal organizations ask for, like foundations, if you're asking them money,
And
they
I would add annual report.
annual report. Okay, cool. So have that as well. Okay, so let's go. Let's stop sharing this. And let's go to Grant Orb. One second. Do you see my Grant Orb screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So it's basically, the sign up process is very easy. Anybody can sign up. And what I wanted to show you here is, I'm going to minimize this. Give me a. So before I create the grant, I just want to show, like, if you are using the system and you're going to use it to write like multiple grants, what you can do is you can set up a team, and which is basically just describe your team name, your organization mission, your past programs, where you're based, who are the key people that will be part of your projects. And then basically, once you have this information, then this information gets auto applied every time you're writing a proposal. So you don't have to copy paste things like your organization information or the key people involved in the process.
That's great.
And so, as I said, like you can generate different kinds of documents, but we're going to generate a whole grant proposal. And this grant wizard is the most magical place, because what you can do is you can literally dump your thoughts about what is it that you're seeking funding for. So talk about the project, that I want money to train, provide summer, for a summer reading club for 100 students, mention the location. If you have a budget, mention the budget, mention the timeline. You've already said summer, so it will probably, the AI is smart to, just say, okay, summer reading club, so it will plan for the summer months. But if you have a timeline in mind, mention the timeline. And so the AI takes that information to create a proposal outline for you. So let's get started with that. I'm going to just, I had lots of proposals that were here. I'm going to just take that and just dump it here. I'm going to just, give me a second. I'm going to just take, so I'm going to just dump it all. It can be shorter than this. It doesn't have to be this long. And it doesn't matter, formatting doesn't matter. And what it's saying is, why is summer literacy support needed? So I have a summer literacy program. I'll just say summer. And it's the curriculum, staffing details, and I'll just say create outline. And if you've already made notes of it, you can attach a file and it'll pull out the information from there as well.
Wow.
Like if you have team member profiles listed on a separate document, you can just attach a file. But if you've just made notes about what is it that you want to seek funding for, you can just dump it in this wizard, and it'll take a couple minutes to use this information to write a proposal outline. So it's described. So now your role is basically to read what the AI has the outline that the AI has created. So you read the problem statement, if it's in alignment with the problem that you are solving, which it will be 100%. But just, your role is to read, basically. Read the audience, if that's fine, your solution, goals and objectives, plan of action, basically just give this a read, timelines and milestones. Okay, I'm going to change the team members here, because this is, since I have my account set up here, it auto applied my information. I'm going to go back and just cut and paste the information of the team. So I'm going to just talk about the team, the partnerships, the impact, how you're going to evaluate future funding. A lot of donors want to know what's going to happen next year or whatever. So obviously just give it a read. It's pretty brief. If there is anything that you want to change, you make those changes here. The AI will auto-generate the list of all the expenses that will go in terms of conducting this project. I will change the organization information here to talk about, there was one research And I go back here, I'll just say this. And if you are applying to somebody who have listed the eligibility criteria and you want to do a quick eligibility check, you can either copy paste or attach that file, and it'll do an assessment against that, and it'll tell you in red or green how you're aligned or not. This we created generate in English, so basically have it checked. But say for instance, in the United States, we don't have that problem, but like we have customers in like Sweden who's using this, and they wanted it to be generated, like the outline created in Swedish and also generated in Swedish. So then you just uncheck that and it'll generate in whatever language the outline is in.
Hmm.
But it's very helpful because if your English is not your first language, and which there are many people in North America where English is not their first language, then they can create this outline in their in whatever language, say for instance Spanish, and then generate it in English. So it's pretty good that way as well. And now the AI, this is basically the AI uses the information from the outline to write a whole proposal.
Now, how do you, and maybe you went over this and I missed it, but how do you get the grant questions into Grant Orb?
Yeah.
Like
so if you're filling out a very specific app, so this is what you're seeing is a winning grants template. Like this is like a master template. I've like looked at almost close to 100 grant applications since the starting of Grant Orb. And these are the set of questions every donor asks. They might just call problem statement need statement, for instance. They might just ask it, frame it differently, but this is exactly what they are looking for. But say you have applied to a donor and they have a specific set of questions. Then we have trained an AI that can take their application form and create a form that looks exactly like the application form on Grant Orb. So then you can use the grant wizard to fill that form out. Just like this. So you can tackle any grant application. Literally.
Because, a lot of times, especially for-profit companies, they tend to either have their own or they're part of an association. But often they they're very specific and they're different than the ones that you're sort of used to. So yeah,
so
that
it
can happen.
Tackle any application form. All I need is, and I can show you that process too if we have time, but it takes literally 4 minutes to create a custom grant application form. 4 minutes, I would say, because AI takes about 2 minutes and you check and make sure all the questions got covered. Because, now our work as human beings is to check the work of AI, So, so basically what I do is my AI creates the form and then I just check the work of the AI to make sure all the questions got covered. And then once it's all ready, I just publish it. And that's why you'll see some grants. I'll show you some grants that are already published.
So you can customize it.
Yeah.
That's
so
perfect.
We auto create the executive summary. But say, for instance, if you want to make any edits, it's very easy. You can, if you think you want to add a sentence or you want to remove stuff, you can do it right here. And I'm going to show you how you can make like update with AI as well. Like say, for instance,
pretty incredible.
Yeah. So I wanted to show you. So this is
I just want to, many of the people on this Zoom have written grants before, and I'm sure you all have some experience, and some of you may be newer to this process. But I've been doing this for 28 years. This is amazing. I'm telling you right now.
I'm telling you.
This is amazing.
I can't.
I'm telling you.
So, okay, I talked about a research agent. So every time you see something in brackets, so we have a research agent that goes separately.
So it's citing sources.
Citing sources. So it will cite source. So every time it has statistics, and it will even put it in a bracket, the citation where it got it from, so you want to make your problems sound compelling. So you have to say that, and I'm going to send this proposal to whoever submitted this idea. This is the solution, the goals and objectives, so there are things that when we are like as I said, grant writing is a specialized skill, because sometimes you can be, if you don't know how to write a good grant, these are a couple of mistakes that people make. Like, they'll be vague, they won't commit to things, they won't
Hmm.
say our target is to reach X number of people, or
Right.
to effect change in X number of,
Right.
things like that, or see learning improvements by
Goals.
75%,
But they're not used to goals.
yeah, goals and objectives, because
Yeah.
this is how then the donor is going to monitor you, right? So in a
Right.
sense,
This
they're
is
not coming and
impressive.
physically checking. So you have to submit a grant report. And so for grant report, a process changes. We attach the agreement,
Uh-huh.
and so the AI will do an assessment against the grant agreement that you've signed to tell you if your grant report is good or bad.
This is
Because
impressive.
yeah, so I mean, all of this, I had to, like, if I had to manually write it, I would be sitting down.
Yeah, this
And
would
but
take, yeah, at least a week, 2 weeks. This is impressive.
this is
This
the timelines,
Look at this.
the activities, the outputs,
That's
staff
crazy.
and intern recruitment, advertise positions and conduct interviews for staff and interns, selection of qualified staff and interns. So the team members, the partnerships.
Wow.
Now, these are partnerships that you might want to go back and confirm, because these are partnerships that the AI has suggested. It's upon you if you want to work with all these partners, or you want to just work with one or two partners, or you want to just confirm, because wow, I can now partner with so and so, I never thought about it. It's like project planning, right?
Yeah.
Like the impact. Yeah. It's very
Short term, long term.
yeah,
Wow.
it's the whole the
This is
expertise
nuts.
has been baked into this. um Again, if you want to make any, okay, let me show you the line item expenses. So as I said, like, sometimes people make mistakes when it comes to budgeting, because they will budget for things. Firstly, they don't know what to put in the budget. Like, I've worked with somebody and I know, and then they will budget something that's not been promised in the proposal,
Hmm.
but budget should be reflective of the proposal, right?
No
Like,
question.
yeah. So this is reflective of exactly what will go
Hmm.
into administrating this.
So this is telling you what you need to go get.
Yeah, so these are all the line item expenses. Now,
Right.
in the way to budget this would be, because it's for the summer program, so
Right.
take those months of, maybe the project director starts early on, and you can see, like, if you go to your timelines, because there's pre-planning and all that stuff, you can the project director probably will get started from March, because it's doing, so you want to budget the salary of a project director from March to the end of summer,
Hmm.
and the amount is whatever, so that'll be
Yeah.
your line item budgeting. So you take the salary, put the number of months, and
Hmm.
just multiply that, basically. And so site coordinator salary, daily meals, transportation services, it gives you everything. Now it's upon you if you want to take in, sometimes you might forget. So for instance, I've done line item budgeting, and I used to literally anticipate all the expenses that will go
Right.
in to budget. And sometimes I would forget things. Oh,
Right.
like, for instance, for my book, I got a grant, but I didn't budget for a book, book cover that I need to
Right.
get that designed, for instance. But if I had used AI, it probably would have suggested you would need that too.
Correct. Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
basically gives you that. Some donors want to know this. They want to be aware in
Right.
advance. And how do you plan to mitigate risks? So as I said, this is like a master template. And we only put, like, brief information about the organization, but we need to, like, because you need to fill in the details, like when it was established, if there's
Yeah.
something else you need to add in the conclusion. But
I
let's
did.
just go here and say that I want to update with AI now, and say I didn't, I go down here and I say, sorry, it's pretty, say this is what I have put about the organization
Mhm.
information, right? Just barely anything. So now I have more details about the organization and I want to update this proposal with that. Then I can just put in more details here, like talk about my past programs, because
Right,
at the end of the day, like the donor should feel comfortable giving you money, right? So you're
right,
promising a great idea, a great project, but who are you? The donor doesn't know anything about you,
right.
and grant proposals are like remote interviews. You need to be able to tell them who you are, what have you done before,
Hmm.
what's your standing in the community. So you can maybe come back and you can put more information here because I don't have, I will not, but
Right.
you can just copy paste more information and then say, I'm ready to generate the grant proposal and it'll update with AI. So it'll update it once again. So like,
So let's,
say,
Deepa, let's
yeah,
go ahead.
I want to show you how an updated proposal looks like. For example, I have
So just
done,
a quick time check. We have about 16 minutes before 10.
can you see the screen?
Yes.
So like, for instance, this is my first revision, this is my second revision, and you can make as many updates you want. Like all the updates will show up here. So in this one, I changed the number of community gardens I wanted to
Hmm.
start. I went from 5 to 10. So the second will show that update basically. So it's really easy. Like our goal is to make it that simple. At the same time, give really high quality, compelling
Right.
grant proposals that, you know, does the thing. And these are different grants basically that are listed. As I said, like this is a Journey for Good Foundation. You can see the eligibility criteria. This is like a grant that we've created like a custom form for.
Mhm.
And this is what they're asking for. What's your organization history and mission? What's your problem statement, current programs and accomplishments, staffing and volunteer support, like how many full-time staff and all that stuff. So if you just answer, like you look at these questions and just in one line, like just dump your thoughts here about each one of them, or especially the ones that the AI can't, don't have the information. Like they don't know, AI doesn't know how much staffing and volunteer support you have. So if you mention that here, it'll take that and it'll create an outline for it.
Uh,
So
yeah. So I think this is amazing. Let's see what people want to do. Do we want to run another one through here, or do people want to sign up on their own? And then we go through it together, and then people can ask questions while Deepa's on the line. What is it you all want to do? So in the chat, just say, um, if you want us to go over another grant, just say go over another grant. Or if you want to sign up, and I don't think it's an obligation, so you can actually, after this process, you can cancel, but you can go into Grant Orb. So it would be go over another grant, or I want to sign up now and then do an example. So whichever you guys want to do. So type that in the chat and we'll do that. Do it quickly so we can uh, try to get another one in. So people want to go over another grant. Two want to go over another grant. One wants to upload. Any more thoughts on what people want to do? Go over another grant. Yes, of course, it has a spell check for sure, Gene.
or no, you can make spelling mistakes while typing. I make spelling mistakes all the time.
Yeah, it has a
AI,
spell check. It has a grammar check, so it's beyond spell check. Any other thoughts? Because it looks like we're going to go over another grant if people don't say they want to upload, and have Deepa help them with that. Give it 10 more seconds. Let's go over another grant. Looks like that's what we'll do.
okay, so I see
Whose was that we did so we can let them know?
Angela.
Angela. So Angela, yours is complete, and so Deepa will send this to you. Okay, so let's find another grant.
Do you want to pick Paul or should
Yeah,
I?
let's try. Let's mess with. How about Alicia Campbell? Is Alicia Campbell on the line? Let's see. Let's do somebody that's here. I don't want to do someone that's not here.
I see Herbert
You see
in the.
Herbert? Yeah, let's do Herbert's then.
I would love to know if Herbert could tell me about their organization. Even 2 lines is fine if they can, if you can send it in the chat, then I can use that information because
Perfect.
it's the Ubuntu tour.
Yeah.
The Ubuntu.
So we need to know about the organization.
Yeah.
It's
Herbert.
Dillard University, Office of the Chaplain.
And also staffing, I don't have much information. I can just so I'll just say Ubuntu Tour, the Ubuntu Educational Leadership Tour is an immersive international program experience for it. So this program is will be conducted by
Dillard
whom?
University.
Sorry?
Dillard University.
Okay, this program will be conducted by
Office of the Chaplain. And I think that's in Louisiana. Is that in Louisiana? Herbert? New Orleans. Yeah, it's in New Orleans.
and
Okay.
should I say the okay, let's just create an outline.
I'm telling you guys, this is nuts. I've never seen anything like this.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, this is impressive. Wow.
So it's got the problem. So Herbert, ideally what you would have done is maybe look at this and just like see if everything is correct here, like the outline that it creates. And once you're fully satisfied with it, you will go down to
He
creating
added
this
something,
proposal.
Herbert added something to the chat. So if you want to peek over at
Okay,
the chat.
let me go back. I want to add the organization. So because, as I said, this is my team account, it applies my charity information every time.
So he did add organization
Yeah, so
information.
let me go to the chat and see. Okay, sorry, I was just trying to copy paste.
Great question. Oh, he added bunch of information too. So good. So we can put that in there. If we go a little bit over 10, I think we might be okay. So if others can stay. They're asking Gene asked a question about the pricing. We can go over that and as soon as we finish with this.
Yeah,
Gene.
so do you want to tell me about the staff, or should I just put some name here right now? Like
Let me see if he has staff.
I'll just put Herbert's name.
Okay.
Brisbane. Brisbane. I'll just say project director.
Yeah. He doesn't have anything in the staff that he posted.
Okay.
Oh, he's got Reverend Herbert Bisman, University chaplain.
Okay, let me too short minimum Brisbane University.
By the way, just in case, just to be clear, I'm not getting any kickback from this. I just think this is great, and I think this is just very helpful for everybody. That's why I'm sort of trying to showcase this. Every time I have someone on here on our Lunch and Learns, this is for you all's benefit from my point of view. So I'm only trying to give you access to resources you might not have access to or know about. And so this is, I'm not getting any kickback or anything from this. I just think it's amazing. And I just think it's something you guys should know about. And it's going to help level the playing field.
And my motivation behind that was to really help the frontline organizations that are doing amazing work, because I know so much great work they do, but they're not able to access funding because they don't have the resources to access funding. You need money to get money. So it's funny.
Just what Ebony said. This is a monster resource. Ebony said it's huge. This is a beast. I'm telling you, I've been doing this for 28 years. I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, I've had like executive directors write grants on the last day, like there's a deadline, because you know how you still have that mental block, like you want to procrastinate till the last day.
Yeah.
And they've written it like literally like that morning, and it takes 5 minutes to generate, but it took her like 3 hours to submit the proposal because she has to log into another system.
I'm dealing with that right now with Walmart. We're asking Walmart. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And those submissions, we want to build a submission agent too.
Exactly.
Our goal is probably by this year that the AI can, copy paste this information for you and upload all the documents.
Do it for you. That would be amazing. But this is.
And at this time, actually, you can shut your laptop and you can go for a walk. You don't have to sit in front of your device.
Yeah.
While you say generate the proposal.
Okay. And so we're going to send this to you, Herbert, as well.
Yeah. So it does storytelling too. So it has considered the story of a student, a promising student who dreams of working in international relations. I mean, if you want to edit, like if you don't want the story, you can edit it, you can delete it. If you like the story, you can keep it, the target audience, proposed solution, its goals and objectives. Did we mention how many students we'll be recruiting? Not.
This is fine.
Yeah, I bet it is.
It can be updated.
Yeah.
I'll